Mitchell, and thank you for stopping back. This is Goshen Place YouTube channel. And we are going to continue in the series on how to survive the shutdown. This is going to be the second video. These are my notes that I'm looking at. I would rather look at the notes than to fumble and not share all of this great information that I have for you. But the last video, um, well, we're talking about shutdown survival, regaining independence when benefits are at risk. That whole thing about regaining independence is really, really important, especially if you are a person that has been receiving federal assistance just to live, food assistance, EBT card, Medicaid for medical situations, assistance for your children. If you have been getting just help to live from the government, this is a kind of a red flag to say, hey, um, things are not as secure as I thought it was, that things can change and programs could be shut off. Money that I've depended on for months can just dry up just like that. And if I have not been taking action to become independent of federal assistance or state assistance, then you can find yourself here in this place where in a few days, your food EBT card is going to be shut off. Um, your, SNAP benefits, just all of the things that you get money from the government for, it just could go away just like that. God does not want you to be dependent on the government for your livelihood. He wants you to be independent. He wants you to be the wonderful, productive creation that He's put you on the earth to be, and to use your skills, your talents, your creativity, your just all the things that you're capable of doing when you really kind of sit down and think about, you know, how can I become independent of receiving help from other people and from the government? How can I be my own person? How can I earn my own money? How can I have my own business? How can I be able to buy my own food with my own money? How can I take care of my family with my own resources, my children? How can I have, medical insurance either through my own job that I have or through the business that I'm running? And so this whole thing about surviving in this situation and moving towards a place of independence is what this series is about. The last one, we talked about, kind of taking an assessment of, you know, how is this impacting me? Am I losing my job? What am I going to do to replace that income? Am I losing welfare benefits? What am I going to do to replace that income? So in this is a second video. And in this video, I am going to talk about the 7-day plan to stay afloat when the benefits are paused or the check is still not coming yet from my job. So one of the things that you really want to do is to prioritize your bills. You need to sit down and look at the bills that you have. If you're paying rent, if you're making a car payment, if you're making insurance payments on the car, If you have medical bills, if you have credit card debt, you look at the bills that you have and decide which ones are the most important for you to pay and which ones maybe you might need to turn off. You may have subscriptions, memberships to clubs, and you may need to decide, okay, I'm gonna have to turn this off for a few months until I get my finances back together, until I go back to work, or until my welfare benefits start again. So you have to prioritize your bills and decide, if I have any money to pay for anything, which one would it be? And in most cases, it's going to be your rent or your mortgage or your vehicle, because you need a place to live and you need transportation to move around so that you can look for other options to earn money. And then the next thing is going to be food for you and your family. Those are some fundamental things that you need, and they should be your priority. Okay, so the next thing here is, figuring out how to stretch the food that you have, how to make meals that stretch, that you can eat for several days. One thing that happened, like in, the 20s or 30s, the times where my grandparents lived and my great grandparents lived, um, they learned how to stretch a dollar. They learned how to, you know, take, you know, pork and beans and hot dogs and, make a meal out of it. It's protein and starch. So that's a pretty good situation. They learned how to take a little bit, ask God to bless it and to multiply it, and then go at it and do the best that they could to feed themselves. They weren't eating steaks or shrimp or lobster, and they had to cook meals, rice and chicken and whatever kind of meat, whatever kind of vegetables that they had, whatever kind of breads that they have. So you have to figure out how to stretch the food that you have. Be creative and see how you can take things um, and make them into a meal for you and your family, because you're going to have to do it, because you don't have the money to go out and eat. You don't have the money to order from DoorDash. No, you have to figure out how to make the resources that you have in your house now. And even if you go to the food bank to get food, you have to be creative and responsible with what you do with that food. Don't waste it. Find a way to use everything that you get. And let's see, what else do we have? Um, and speaking of food banks, that during this time, there are many um, churches, nonprofit organizations where you can go to get assistance, particularly with food. And so take advantage of those things. So sit down and make a plan for the next 7 days as to, what bills am I going to pay? What meals can I prepare with the food that I have? And how am I going to survive for these next 7 days? And then when you get past 7 days, who knows? Who knows what will have happened at the end of those 7 days? So you take action now. You take one day at a time, and then you always be aware of Goshen Place, the place that of provision, of protection, of healing, a place where you can receive wisdom from God on what to do, how to do it, and when to do it. Thank you again. This is LaVerna. I'm going to sign off. Stay tuned for video number 3.